Hello, welcome to my Sync and Flow tutorial. Whether you only want basic editing or more serious and very flowy editing, there is something in this tutorial for you. And to reflect this, the tutorial will be done in 3 levels, incrementally building on top of each other. We will be syncing a trick shot and a sniping clip for this. The prerequisites for this tutorial is to have Adobe After Effects and optionally Trickster 8 for more advanced sections of the tutorial if you're a more serious editor. This tutorial will be spread across 3 levels, with level 1 being the most basic clip sync into music along with learning some basics of how to use Adobe After Effects. Level 2 will introduce you to jump syncing and editing velocity curves, and level 3 will build on top of this, giving more advanced tips for more serious editors. Concepts that I'll be teaching in this tutorial will be applicable to any gaming footage that you want to edit. Now I will show you example edits of what we will achieve with each level of this tutorial. Now getting started, we have After Effects open, we have an empty project here, and we have a folder that contains the footage and the song we want to edit to. So I'm going to import it by dragging and dropping in. You could use file, new, or just file import, whatever, but when you open After Effects by default it will make an empty project, and dragging and dropping everything you want to put in is just a much quicker way of importing everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new composition. You can do this by clicking on the button here, or you can just drag and drop the song. I recommend dragging and dropping the song because it will automatically make a composition that is the exact length of your song, and then you can just cut it later on to be shorter. Now that we have a composition made, one thing I would like to say is I would like to organize this a bit better. It's not necessary, but it makes your life a lot easier. So if you click on the folder button, you can name a bunch of folders. So I like to do audio for my song, comps for any pre-compositions I have, and then clips and clips. And this, I recommend highly keeping it organized, because as your project grows and grows, it can get out of hand. But if you keep it nice and organized, it's easy to keep track of what you have edited, what you haven't edited, and so on. So now what we're going to do, since we have our song here, we're going to go zoom into the part of the song that we want to sync to. So I'm going to put a few keybinds on the screen. There's going to be render and play, which you can configure through the preview tab. If you go to window and preview, you can change the shortcut for actually rendering something. I personally have mine bound to shift insert for play, insert for play, shift insert for audio play, and control insert for making markers, which is going to be important for marking beats in a song. If you want to change your keybinds, you can go to, where is it again? Edit, keyboard shortcuts, and then you can look up here. So like audio preview, I have mine set to shift insert. For example, I believe the other one's preview, or render is something like that. Play current preview, it might be this. You'll find it out. So I'm going to audio preview through the song until I find which part I want to edit to. So right here, this is where I want to start working around. So I'm going to press B here. And I'm going to press N at the end. And what this is going to do is that whenever you render, it's only going to render what is in this little range here. And it just makes it much easier to edit. So you can also drag it around. So I'm going to go to end of the song. Yeah, let's just keep it here for now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start marking out beats. So I know by default is the Ashford key on the numpad, but if you do not have a full keyboard like I do, I have a 75%, you could use your new keybind. So what you want to do is you want to keep audio previewing through it, and then whenever you identify beats or the point that you want to actually edit it on, you can then put a marker down. So I'm going to do that. So right here, it's roughly here. And what you want to do is you want to keep moving your little time indicator around until you hear exactly the part that you want to mark out. So right here, let's put a marker here. Over here. And with practice, you can get quite quick at it. And so I'm going to come back when I have marked out all the beats that I want to mark out. Now I've marked all these beats. For level 1, you don't really need all of these. You only need a marker for when your clip starts, when the shot happens, when you want it to end, and so on. So first we're going to start off with the trick shot clip. So I'm just going to drag and drop it. Right here, you can press the left square bracket and right square bracket to move it around, or you can mouse drag it, but shortcuts make your life easier and you'll become a much quicker editor if you use them. So I'm going to go find the beat that I want the trick shot to actually shoot. I want it to happen here. A little bit offbeat, you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my footage, I'm going to drag it, press plus to zoom in, and then find the exact frame when he shoots. It's about here, I think. Just check my comp settings, they're all fine. And right here we've technically synced it. I want the clip to start here, so I'm just going to Alt left square bracket or Control Shift D and delete it. And then I'm going to, I want it to end on this beat. And now I have this synced. Maybe you want the clip audio. If you do not want the clip audio, like if you're doing a more serious edit, then I would recommend clicking here to get rid of the audio. So let's play it again. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing with the kill cam. So I want it to shoot in this beat here. So let's just drag it through until you get to the frame where he shoots. Right here. And maybe I want space for cinematics, so I'm playing a bit of the kill cam here. And there we are, you have a trick shot with basic sync. Nothing special with it, no jump sync in it. And now we're going to do the same with the sniper clip. So I'm going to be marking out more beats where I want him to shoot on each time, and then I'll be back to you when I have done that. So I have now marked more beats right here. So I'm going to be syncing the sniper clip to this. Sniper clips can take a little bit longer to sync, but if you're only just doing some simple cutting like this part of the tutorial, then it's not the worst thing. It's the same drill. So I'm going to start at this part of the clip here. So this is where I want the first shot to happen, on this marker here. So remember, get the first frame, cut it. Then you use the shortcuts I showed earlier to trim the footage. So I'm just going to get rid of the audio. Then I'm going to cut it here. And then right between this beat and this beat, he's going to be aiming again. So what you could do if you really wanted is you could just drag it like here and do the same thing. But sometimes that can cause issues. It looks good in this example. What I'd recommend doing is pressing Ctrl-Alt-T to get in time remap, put a keyframe down, and then go to this beat here, and then drag this timer until you get the frame that he shoots on. And then it's synced perfectly, no frames missed out. So I'm going to do the same here. And I want to get this last kill, because why the hell not? Let's preview this together. Let's move this marker here for a later part of the tutorial, because maybe I want to drag this out more, so let's just So right here we have the sniper clip synced basic, nothing special on it. And let's preview this all together. And there we are, so that's level 1 of the tutorial. Now we're going to be moving on to level 2. So now that we've finished level 1, we achieved basic sync in our clips. So now we're on level 2, we want to add some basic jump sync. Like, you know, when you see on every beat of the song, it gets a little bit faster and it's slower in between the beat. That is what we'll do now, and having the clip synced is a prerequisite to be able to do that. So let's start off by working on the favela clip. So let's press Ctrl-Alt-T to open time remap. Let's pop a keyframe here, because this is where the clip starts. And a keyframe just one frame before the shot. Now what a keyframe is it stores information. So this stores information on what time of the clip we're at. So 9 seconds 42 to 13:19. If you wanted to make the clip slower, you drag them further apart. If you want it to be faster, you drag them closer. So if I decided I wanted to make the clip shoot here instead, it might be the more obvious option. You can drag this back, do the little shortcuts, and then you'll have the clip going faster. But hey, I beg to differ a bit, so I'm just gonna fucking do it like this because I think it's cool. So yeah, so what you do now is on each of your markers, go to each of your markers, you can drag the time indicator, or you can right click and go to marker. A lot of clicking, and then you have all these keyframes. Now what I did do subconsciously without explaining it was deleting all the other ones here. And the reason I do this is because when we graph edit it, we'll see the graphs a lot better, because if you have keyframes like all the way here and you graph edit it, it's going to be like really fucking tiny and you're not going to be able to do shit. So I recommend clearing it up as much as you can so the graphs will be as big as possible. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on time remap, press F9 to ease it, and I'm going to click on this graph button here. And now I have these curves. So what is the meaning of these curves? Well, the steeper the line is, the faster it goes. So I'm going to just drag out these little indicators here. So it slopes up, goes a bit steady, then slopes up again. So it goes faster, slower, faster, slower, faster, slower, faster, and so on. You get the point. Careful not to drag it too much, otherwise the clip might lag. And this is why it's important to edit to 60 FPS clips, because when you slow them down, they won't lag. So if you slow down 30 FPS clips, like slowing it down to half speed is going to be 15 FPS. If you do it with 60, it's going to be 30 FPS, which is going to be clean. So let's just have a look at this. So this actually doesn't look too bad. What you want to make sure you do is when you're syncing trickshot clips with jump sync, is you want to show the animations. Good. And what you can do, like for example, if I wanted to make this part only show the gun being pulled out, I can drag this down right here so it makes the keyframes time value start. Or drag this up actually. Make it start up here. Which might be preferable, because hey, maybe someone does some one frame crazy thing and you only want to show that part, but let's have a look at this. It does look better synced, because what I do recommend is putting on each of your keyframes where the animation starts. Because it just looks nicer that way, you know. So right here he's stopping and staring, gun hit, gun whip out, shoots again, and now this part lags, and to stop this part from lagging we're going to need to make the graph line a bit straighter. So let's have a look at this again. Now this looks okay, nothing special. And another tip is so for example in this part of the clip he's doing quite a lot and there's quite a big distance between the beats. I recommend not heavily graph editing it, leaving it relatively raw like this, leaving it quite linear, making the graph editing less extreme so it plays out all the animations. And now we're going to do time remap to the shot. Now, the way shots tend to be synced is that you tend to slow them down a lot more, and so we will be doing that. So what I like to do, put a keyframe where he shoots, and then go somewhere maybe 3/4 of the way, and then what I like to do is drag this until I get to the main part of the animation. So the main part, he whips out this drone here. I want to make this show that. So I like to think of it as like the most important part of the animation, and then just drag this a bit further out. And then remember to delete the edge keyframes. You don't have to, but it just makes life easier. Easy ease and time remap. And then we're going to graph edit it a bit like this. I can already tell that's going to be really fast, and if you want basic jump sync, we might not want it to ramp up so much. So graph edit it a bit like so. I'll explain in a second what this means. And you can see it lags a bit, but we can get around that really easily. But putting a third point in your time remap gives you more control over the curve that you're trying to edit. So you can make it a lot slower by dragging out these points. But something important about doing 3-point time remap is you want to make sure that it's always moving slightly up. Because if it doesn't, like for example it goes down a bit here, it's going to look goofy. Now, we have lag, but we don't want it to lag, so we're going to double click here to get frame interpolation. There we are. That looks okay, maybe a little bit fast for my liking for this kind of song, so if you want to make it a bit slower or a bit more gradual, you can edit the curve like so, make the rise to the middle point a bit more gradual. That will slow it down. And now for the kill cam. Now, I've obviously not edited to the full part of the kill cam. I've only edited bits of it. So I'm just going to time remap it. And the way I like to do my kill cam is I like to do it backwards. And the reason I do it backwards is because I like to put my keyframes down according to each animation. So I'll put a keyframe here and then go 1 beat back. And then I want this part to be where he starts whipping out the guns. So I would just put that here. Before that, he flips the guns. So I'm going to put it to the beginning of the gun flip animation. And then I'm going to scroll back a bit, look around the clip. What does he do before? So before he whips out the gun and flips it, he seems to like do a melee attack. So I'm just going to cut to the beginning of that. And then the same thing for the rest of it. Sometimes there isn't anything obvious, and that's okay. You can just experiment with it until it looks good. So, let's see. Yeah, let's probably do it roughly here. What does this look like? Now this looks a bit fast than these 2 points, so I'm going to put them a bit more forward. Just drag a bit up, put them a bit more forward in time so there's not so much speed there when we don't really want it. Delete these end keyframes that are useless. Now look at that. That looks much better. So I'm going to do the same thing, F9 easy ease. If you want to edit the curves all together for speed, you can do that. Just highlight it all and then drag the little beady things. And let's see what this looks like and see what we need to adjust. Now that looks nice. My only issue is that this part lags a bit. And so I'm going to loosen up the curves a bit. Let's have a look again. And hey, I think that looks pretty nice. So I'm going to do the exact same thing with the shot of the kill cam. Put a keyframe where it starts. Go 3/4 of the way through. Drag my time remap until I get the sort of main part I want to emphasize. So maybe it looks like when he first pulls out the drone. Then drag a bit forwards at the end keyframe that I make here to, you know, have some ramping out. You know, make it jump at the end. So do roughly the same thing. Like so. And remember, you are going to want to adjust this, like depending on what kind of edit you're doing, because not every curve is going to look great for every edit. Like, so if you want something a bit more sharp, you might want your curve to look a bit like this. If you want it to be like super smooth and slower and gradual, you might want it to look a bit like this. So let's just preview what this looks like. Nice. I think that looks good. Let's preview this. Only thing I might say is this part's quite fast. So maybe I'll just slow this one down a little bit. Don't make it ramp out too fast if you want it to look smoother. Unless that's your goal. Now you'll see here that when you put frame interpolation, and what frame interpolation is, which is what I've told you to tick here, is that because we are slowing down the clip a lot and it's probably going below speed where it looks smooth, what frame interpolation does is it kind of guesses, or like what the frames in between will be. So it's almost like we've converted this to, like, I don't know, 120, 200 FPS. Nothing particularly complicated. All you need to do is it makes things smooth. So I'm gonna go to the sniping clip now. Now we're going to be adding jump sync to the sniper clip, so let's just preview it again. So I'm just going to close my work area by pressing B, just because it only pre-renders that area. And to show you what I mean, if I play through, it will go straight back to the beginning of the sniper clip. So, like if you wanted to preview the beginning part again and again, you can press B and N to close the area here. So, let's put some time remap. Control-Alt-T. Put the points here. Now when it comes to like the first running up to go and shoot, I wouldn't recommend doing anything crazy with it. Leaving it raw can look good without doing any special time remapping. A slight curve can look good. Jitters a little bit here. I'm just going to loosen it up a bit more. Let's go into the shot. I don't have that time remap, so let's just put a keyframe here. And then maybe put one in the end. I recommend messing around with these. When I like to do sniper clips, I like to make the end keyframe be where the hand is like touching the bolt of it. You can use 3-point on this, I always do. But if you don't want anything special, you can just do your simple curve editing like you did last time for this one. What's important about this, with sniper clips, you want to show the scope out well, so you want the beginning part to be a bit slower. So I'm just going to do the same for the rest. I've already time remapped this bit. Remember, end it roughly where he puts his hand on the bolt. That just tends to look better in my experience, because you want to show off the scope animation. Because if you sync it really tight, like this for example, and let's just say you put some resampling or some interpolation, like it goes out really fast like that, it can look like a no scope. It actually doesn't look too bad in that instance because I put the end keyframe quite low, but you want to show off the scope animation a bit better, so remember to make this part slower, do some generic curve editing. And ideally you want to have everything connected, so you can see that I have a bit of a space here between, like it cuts very suddenly. So we want to take care of this. So you can see the time code of this is 824. We can bring this down to 825. Let's get this down to 825. So it continues right after the frame that we ended on last time. And then make the end keyframe, drag it to when he scopes in first. This should look good. And then generic graph editing, delete the useless shit. Put something loose like that, nothing special. Awesome. And we're just going to keep doing that for the rest. If you already have time remap on them, do not press Ctrl-Alt-T again because it will reset it. Just press the drop down arrow here. So let's just wind this back. He first puts his hand on the bolt again. Useless keyframe cleanup once again. Blah blah. And then the clip, he runs quite a bit of a distance before getting this kill. This part of the kill in the clip is probably not really important to show, but I think it will be useful to tell you how to deal with it. And I've also dragged out the last shot because usually on the last shot it looks really cool if you make the last shot like nice and really slow and lasts a bit longer. So I'll just do the generic time remap bullshit again. Drag this keyframe to when he first scopes in. So you can see he scopes in and then scopes out and scopes in again. I like to cut all that out and get to the part where he first scopes in. And then maybe edit to where he first starts running here. Rinse and repeat. Very generic, very fine. Let's see, we have timing map on this. So now I'm going to make this shot slower. So I'm going to do the 3 key point timing map that I did before. So I'm going to go to 3/4 in, maybe go to where he's like midway through scoping out to show off the scope animation more. And then at the end keyframe where he puts his hand, and then I'm going to timing map that and just edit these curves as so. This should look quite sharp, we'll see. Put frame blending on. Frame blending tends to go well in sniper clips because there's less movement. And I think for first try that looks pretty nice. Awesome. No, I think that looks pretty great. And as you practice it, you'll get better at knowing what looks better first, but just keep practicing, keep experimenting with the curves, seeing how it looks. Remember to show off the animations, and let's preview this all together. Sick. Hi, so this is level 3 of the tutorial, so we're going to be doing some more advanced stuff with our velocity. So what we're going to do is emphasize some more animations more, make some parts super slow-mo, maybe fuck with this a bit more, make it look a bit more like a frag edit. I only really recommend this if you're a much more serious editor, because a lot of people, if you're trying to appeal to a wider audience, would appreciate pretty basic sync, but I personally like to do things a bit more different, or more advanced rather. So let's start with a trick shot clip. So let's see what animations we can drag out. So I see right here, maybe what I want to do is I want to make this part really slow. That can look cool. So what I like to do is just cut it between here. Maybe I want to make this part really slow as well. So I'm just going to cut this out. And now we're going to be editing this part. So what we want to do is we want to show off the gun melee animation. So remember, go 3/4 in. And then we're going to find like probably the cooler part of the animation, like show a frame where you see what you're trying to show off, if that makes sense. So previewing it with frame blending on, it doesn't look the best, but that's why I said you could use Twixtor 8, and I'll get into that very soon. So now that looks pretty cool. You're showing off the animation of that part, but maybe you want it to be a bit more sudden. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 2 frames in front, and then I'm going to drag this up a bit more, and then tighten up these curves. And then I'm going to change these curves as so. The reason I make it look that weird is because it shows off the first few frames a bit better. Let's preview this now. I like how that looks. So I think that looks great. So let's just preview this together. So to make better frame interpolation, what I'm going to do, let's just turn this off. Let's pre-compose it and leave all attributes on. So right here we can see the time remap here. If you double click to go into the comp, you'll see the raw clip. What you're going to want to do, If you have Twixtor 8, just put your Twixtor in there. It automatically puts what frame rate the comp is in. And then if we go back, we should have better frame interpolation. Whenever this decides to pre-render. Now look at that, that looks way better. Now what I notice about Twixtor 8, shout out for Tasty putting it on me, I think it uses AI to do the frame interpolation. So what it does better than other forms of frame interpolation is it doesn't like fuck up with the HUD like a lot of other, like the default one does or other version of Twixtor. So let's do the same thing with this part of the clip. Drag it, delete all the other keyframes around so you can just focus on editing that graph. Maybe I want to show off, let's see, what part do I want to show off more? Maybe let's put it here, let's see how that looks. Now I like to put frame blending on for now just to see what it roughly looks like. I think I like that. Maybe I can see how it looks if it looks a bit more sudden. I recommend only doing this if you want the sync to look really sharp. But I think it looks better smooth, so I'm just going to leave it as so. And then I'm going to do the usual pre-comping, leave all attributes, double click, put Twixtor on. Let's see how that looks. You can see the frame interpolation is just so much infinitely better. Awesome. Now I'm gonna look at the kill cam and see which animation I want to do the super slow stuff to. So I can already see I want to do this to the gun flip and only the gun flip, so I'm just gonna cut this out here. And let's get rid of the other keyframes we've had before. And remember, about 3/4 in, reach a key point in the animation, and then mess around with your graph. Put frame interpolation or frame blending on just to see what it looks like. So you're happy with it. I think I want to make it tighter in this part, so I'm going to tighten up the sync here, mess around with the curves, make this part a little weird so you show the first frame a bit better. Awesome, I love how that looks. Pre-compose, leave all attributes, go in, Twixtor. Awesome, and it's going to look much better. And now I think I want to do the same for this YY or whatever it is, so let's just go to a key point in the animation, maybe here when the gun's down. Now when you're editing kill cams, sometimes it might not lag. I think there's very, very mild lag in this, nothing crazy. But you want to make sure there's none. So yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it like that. Let's pre-compose it, leave all. Pop Twixtor in again. And awesome. So let's see how this looks together. Awesome, I think that looks great. So now I'm going to show you some more tricks you can do with syncing sniper clips and how to make the velocity look really nice. So now we're going to do some more fancy shit with the time remapping jump sync on the sniper clip. So I'm going to show you how you can make the scope-ins look like a bit more snappy, how to make the shots look better, how you can make this even look cooler. So I like to make the first run up a bit more, keep it a bit more raw, keep it a bit more like linear speed. So right here, what I think I want to do is I want to make the first shot a bit more snappy. So I'm going to 3-point it, I'm going to go in the middle here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this keyframe until midway through the scope out like before, and then just edit the curves as so. Let's see how this looks. Now I tend to just stick with normal frame blending on sniper clips because it works better with that, but you can still do the Twixtor thing. It will probably look better. I don't think that looks very nice. I want to make it maybe a bit more snappy. So I'm just going to edit the curves around. Did a little frame thing. Let's see how this looks. Awesome, I like that. And maybe I want to edit this scope in to be a bit better. So I'm going to go 3/4 in, go when he's nearly scoped roughly, edit the graphs. Maybe I want to make this part a bit more sudden, ramp up a bit quicker. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this clip. I personally like putting 4 points when I, you know, do the velocity on a sniper clip. I just think it's much easier to get the ramps looking better. And what I mean by ramping is how quickly it goes in and out. Let's see how this looks. Awesome, I love that. Right here, I think it looks better when he's running up. I think it looks fine like this, but you could edit it however you want, mess around with it, adapt it to whatever style you're doing. Awesome. So let's preview this all together. Sick. So thank you if you made it this far, thank you for watching, and regardless of what level you are editing, whether you're a bit more experienced or you don't have a clue, I hope this has helped you in some way. I plan on making more tutorials in the future. If any of you have a particular suggestion, you can put it in the comments section. I'm thinking of probably doing pan and crop, so like screen pumps, shake and so. I think that could be great for a next tutorial. So yeah, thank you for watching and peace out.